After over 30 years and dozens of games in the Legend of Zelda series, Breath of the Wild introduced a revolutionary mechanic. Link can finally jump! So let's not. Back in fall of 2017, when I was a much more naive person, I decided to see how many times I'd have to press the X button to beat all of the main quests in my favorite game. I spent about 3 months grinding that number lower and lower until it finally reached 0, all without a capture card. Now that I do have one and am equipped with even more knowledge of the game, I really wanted to do it again and this time be able to show it off. So first off, what does the X button do? The two biggest things are of course jumping and deploying your paraglider. This is our absolute biggest obstacle for this run, pretty unsurprisingly. And since we can't use X to jump, we're also locked out from flurry rushing and shield surfing. Some other actions include dashing while climbing and swimming, warping from dungeon map screens, skipping cutscenes, quick holding from your inventory, quick deleting from the album, and worst of all, we can't take selfies. So what does all main quests mean then? Well, it's just everything listed in the main quests tab in your log. So in this run I have to get the tower and the paraglider, open the fairy fountain in Kakariko, get the master sword, get all memories, beat all divine beasts, and finally defeat Ganon. Instead of taking you through my playthrough in the order I did everything, I thought it would make for a more cohesive video if I split it up into these quests. I can already tell you that the beasts are where the real challenges begin, so I'll put some timestamps in the description in case you want to skip the more mundane quests. So, without further ado, let's start off with the Great Plateau. Now, since I made that first playthrough in 2017, a lot of things have happened in Breath of the Wild exploits since then. Unfortunately, like 90% of said things have involved pressing X, but I just really wanted to do one specific thing at the beginning of this run. That is, clipping out of the Shrine of Resurrection. The reason I want to do this is not only to show that it's possible without pressing X, but also since a lot of my overworld movement will be made much more tedious by not being able to paraglide. I wanted the in-game time to be locked to 5:15 in the morning with set weather conditions and no night enemies, which is exactly what happens if you clip out of here and avoid triggering the cutscene that normally plays as soon as you exit Shrine of Rest. It honestly wasn't that hard, just real tedious. After that we pick up some supplies and head straight for the tower. After that comes a trick I'll be doing quite a few times this run called the fall damage cancel. Since I can't just paraglide down a cliff whenever I reach one, doing a fall damage cancel is the easiest and fastest way to drop down from up high. We head on to Magnesis where we get our first room, which will prove to be extremely useful in a lot of spots to avoid some X presses. All of the shrines on the Great Plateau can be very casually completed without pressing the X button, so we just keep on trucking, doing bombs, cryonis, then stasis until we're ready to get the paraglider and finish our first main quest. To kick off our quest to get all 13 memories in the game, we head off to Kakariko, where we'll conveniently start off the fairy fountain quest as well by giving her 100 rupees. We'll head into Impa's house in our Water with Floor and start the memory quest. We can then head to Ateneo. Getting the blue flame up to the observatory is no biggie, especially since clipping out of the Shrine of Rest prevents rain here. We get the camera and we can warp back to Kakariko to talk to Impa yet again, and then get the ability to find or register memories. Also a good time to take a pic of the fairy fountain so we can show Pikango to finish off that quest. Getting the memories is a tedious but completely doable quest, and with a bit of patience and a lot of fall damage cancels, we can check off all 13 memories without them requiring a single X press, and finally relive these horrific and traumatic experiences once again. Thanks, Impa. Considering there are 120 shrines in this game, completing enough of them to get the Master Sword won't be a huge challenge. To pull it out, we need 13 full heart containers. Since we start with 3 hearts and get an additional 4 from the beasts, we only need 6 more hearts, which means completing 24 shrines to get enough orbs. There are some very conveniently placed shrines that we just can't complete without an express that we'll have to skip on our way, for example Boschkala and Shavarvo. But there's also plenty of shrines that are supposed to force you to press X in, but we can cheese our way through, for example Kayawan and Takaku. Although I do wonder how many X presses are required for beating all shrines. Well, anyway, getting all of our orbs are no biggie, and we'll soon enough grab the sword waiting for us in Lag City. Okay, so when I started the first playthrough over a year ago, I knew this would be the hardest part by far. I was extremely right. Some obstacles in this category were solved pretty easily, but a few things are absolutely bonkers precise. Back then I headed to Medoh first, as I expected my run to rack up a huge amount of expresses just in the prologue, but you'll see. So let's head over to Rito Village. Getting there is easy peasy, so we'll simply head up and talk to Kaneli, then speak to Saki to get a memory of Rivali. We'll then just head up to the flight range to meet Teba. Now, I prepared a huge amount of stamina food for this in this run, because I forgot how I did it last run, so now I have stamina food to last me quite a while. You see, I don't need any of this. I completely forgot that once you start the target game, you can just stand on a platform and take down targets without having to be in the air at all, and the game just lets you. After that, it's time to take down Medoh's defense. In 2017, I was absolutely certain there would be no way to do this without pressing X, but wrong again. Yep, as long as you press B after closing Teba's last text box before he drops you, Link will automatically deploy his paraglider without you having to press anything. So far this game is actually being nice to me. So we shoot a cannon, drop down, press B, shoot another one, and keep going until Medoh's barrier is busted and we can head onto it. Doing the first half of Medoh without touching the X button is real easy. To get to the map, we can just walk across these platforms, then we use the basket and tilt the map to get our first terminal. Right in the other room is terminal number 2, and we then cross back to the right side of Medoh where things will finally get interesting. Terminal number 3 is no problem either. Now we're getting into the... I want to say fun part, but I can't even say that honestly. Okay, Terminal 4 is honestly pretty fun, and only takes a few tries to get. This ball will be extremely handy from here on out, and we'll stasis it under this balcony, we'll drop down, carefully whack it with a spear, do some circus clown shenanigans, stasis again, then bomb boost ourselves onto the alcove with our 4th terminal. Do I have to talk about Terminal 5? I kinda feel like throwing up. Terminal 5 is hell on earth. Terminal 5 requires you to grab this ball, stasis it outside this window, then bomb boost yourself into the alcove. Now, please guess how many attempts this took me on this playthrough. 445 failed attempts. And that's just the attempts I recorded live and then decided to count. I have over 3 hours more footage of this I couldn't even bother looking at. This took me well over 500 attempts spread across multiple videos that I had to delete because they took up more disk space than the entire playthrough up till that point combined. Well, I think we're off to a great start, right? Just gotta go kill Windblight up on a roof and get this beast over with. Wait, roof. There's no walkways anywhere on Medoh that allow us to just drop onto the roof. The only way you're supposed to get up there is by using these fans. So our ball buddy comes to the rescue for the 3rd time in his dungeon. Except now it's not in the same room, just instantly respawning right where we need it. Now it's several rooms away and every failed attempt requires us to go all the way back to Terminal 4 to get it. So of course, this playthrough I get it first try, even though it took me at least 20 back in 2017. We get the ball and make sure we have some balloons on hand. Staticing it right below, we drop onto it, attach some balloons, and use a Korok leaf to get into a position where we can just get to a higher platform, and then bomb boost ourselves onto the roof. Time to go fight a big boy. Windblight is kinda designed to be fought using these updrafts, but we can simply choose not to use them. It does make you waste more arrows and time, but it's real straightforward. With Windblight defeated and Medoh freed, we can get our first ability, which we're never going to use. Thanks, buddy! Getting the Great Eagle Bow is gonna help us a lot with the following blights too, so we'll grab that while we're at it. We head off to Goron City, very gracefully, and spot our next challenge crawling around Death Mountain. We speak to Plateau, who asks us to get everyone's favorite champion descendant. Back in 2017, I was stuck at this part for a long time. I couldn't find a way to launch or rocket myself without jumping, and trying to bomb myself across the gaps only got me across 2 of them with a lot of time and effort. Only after several days of trying to figure it out, I remembered that hey, flying machines are a thing. So we take that knowledge into this playthrough, build a flying machine, and head off to abandoned North Mine. Doing a 10 out of 10 parking job at Ganon. No biggie. We crush the entrance open and fly another short distance to get Noble. We then warp back to Goron City and go speak to Plateau again, then head over to save Noble for the second time in less than 10 minutes. Are you kidding me, Noble? Heading on to everyone's favorite escort mission, this part of the Rudania prologue really isn't a big issue. Again, not being able to press X is more tedious here than anything, but it's over with pretty painlessly. Man, it's satisfying seeing Link jump in these cutscenes. I wish I could do that. Okay, I can tell you right away, this is by far the easiest dungeon to deal with in this run. We get the first terminal pretty much instantly, then go grab the map, cause being able to see is kinda nice, I guess. Terminal 2 is the cakewalk as well, and then we'll head on to Terminal 3. This is really the only terminal in this beast that's completely intended to be reached by gliding, but there's a very easy bomb boost setup we can use for this one. Done. Terminal 4 is dealt with easily as well, except I forgot how to sheath the torch by shooting it from the inside of Rudania, so I can't show off here. On to Terminal 5, which is located on the roof. There aren't really any slopes on the roof that are too steep to just run up, so we can just breeze by this one as well. On to Big Boy 2. Again, not being able to bullet time easily on this roof is pretty rough, but Fireblight still goes down very easily, especially with our newly acquired Great Eagle Bow. We get the Rook's protection and easily finish our second beast. It's time to head to the desert. We just ride to the canyon stable, then we whistle sprint across the desert all the way, because we can't shield surf or launch or use a horse or glide. So we can talk to this guy to start quest, then run way back again so we can get some cute clothes and oh thank god we can warp. Let's break the law and talk to Riju, then Teak to begin our quest. Sand seals are gonna be real convenient for this whole area, so let's grab one and head towards the Giga hideout. Doing sneaking missions without being able to glide is extremely annoying and stressful. Oh well. Nanners come in handy and we can take this shortcut through the curtain to make it easier. Then we head up the ladder, drop a nanner, then drop ourselves down. Time to fight a medium-sized boy. Koga is really easy, don't even have to think about that extremely seductive X button. We get the helm and return back to Gerudo City. We hand it over to Riju, get the memory of everyone's favorite buff mob, then grab another sand seal and head to the outpost. No expresses whatsoever required here, just some really rusty Naboris takedown strats. Time to enter our third beast. Naboris isn't challenging because we can't press X in this case, it's challenging because I've completely forgotten how this dungeon is supposed to be played through, because in runs we sheath the whole thing with Rivali scale. Anyway, with our handy map downloaded, we head towards our first terminal inside the cage. After getting out, we head back inside and use the map to roll ourselves up. We then bomb boost across this gap to get our second terminal. For Terminal 3, we do some map physics shenanigans and head to the tail to get onto the roof and find our third terminal nearby. Get one ball upstairs, then search for an embarrassing amount of time for the other one. I always forget where it is. We head to Terminal 4. I was too lazy to cheese it with metal weapons this time. On to Terminal 5 just outside. Turn this wheel, ride the elevator, then grab our fifth and final terminal. Fall damage cancel back down, then get ready for Big Boy 3. To be honest, even though I absolutely hate this dude normally, in this specific run he's actually the easiest one. Since we have platforms way off the ground to just run off, we can bullet time no problem. Say hi to mom, say bye to mom, and get our boss's fury. Time for our final beast and the challenge I kept dreading the most. Oh man, do I really gotta do all that running up Sora's domain with the Lasalfos and the shock arrows and nah. A few fall damage cancels later and we can pay a surprise visit to Link's BF. Then watch like literally the longest unskippable cutscene in the game, like twice. Get the Sora tunic and remember our sister-in-law, then head up to the reservoir. Here's another case of the Meadows. Once you break that ice and head up the waterfall, Link automatically deploys his paraglider. It would be totally doable if he didn't, but it's pretty nice since it allows us a bit more freedom with where we shoot. We finish off Ruta, then head inside. So I mean, the first half is really easy. We get our first terminal right here, then go get the map. Head upstairs, then grab our second terminal inside this water wheel. Use the map to spin this one and get our third terminal. Easy, right? I mean... Okay, so let me say this. In 2017, Terminal 4 took me 9 hours over the course of 3 days. There's like a reason I wanted to do Ruta last. We gotta grab this chest down here, open it to make the surface area of it a bit longer, bring it upstairs, put it down here, get up on the big water wheel and grab it again, quickly push it to the other side and follow along, slowly push it out onto the trunk so we don't risk dropping it, put it on its side in the middle right here, push it a tiny bit away from the wall, stasis it, wait a bit until we drop 4 balloons right onto the middle of it, position ourselves between them, let stasis release and hope to God it doesn't send you in a bad direction. Then we can drop off at the top of the trunk. Now, in 2017, I always got an angle where I had to bomb boost myself and find the setup in the first place, so no surprise it took 9 hours. It did look a lot cooler though. This attempt took me less than an hour, thank God. So now that Terminal 4 is dealt with, my shoulders are about 50 pounds lighter and we can head on to the last one. We fall damage cancel, drop onto the roof, drop in, turn this thing, and put out these flames. That's the last terminal. Time for Big Boy 4. Since I'm way too good on arrows right now, this really isn't a big deal, but being able to bullet time sure would be nice. We take Water Blind out and are rewarded with Mipha's Grace. Time to head to Hyrule Castle. We're getting there. Any minute now. We're just taking our time. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's go, extra big boy. The only real problem with this fight is that we can't flurry rush by pressing X, so anytime we want to stun him, we'll have to do a shield parry. Again, I have way too many arrows, so first phase is over with real fast. Time for me to both completely forget I have Urbosa's Fury and fail a stun lock at the exact same time. With phase 2 dealt with, we head outside to our final hurdle, like, really big boy. Get the light bow, shoot the sigils, but shit, how are we gonna get the final shot without paragliding? Okay, so I really wanted to use a tree rocket because it looks sick, but I'm bad. With like really big boy taken down. We have just officially beat all main quests without pressing X. Back then I was still real curious to see if Champion's Ballad could be possible as well, but I'm real sad to announce that it's stuck at 12 entire X presses. But hey, doing the no DLC playthrough back in 2017, I was stuck at 8 presses for a good while, so you never know what might happen. Even though some parts of this was really painful, it still just brings me a lot of joy talking about this game and showing off stuff like this, even if it might be completely pointless in the end. So thanks a lot for watching, and please don't do this.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy,